Let's find out if Armaf has been able to follow up their success with an even better success. Stay tuned. So I recently picked up Precieux 1, still wrapped here. Mostly because I really like Creed Aventus, I like Absolu Aventus. When I smelled Absolu Aventus though, my thought was actually not to think of Aventus like regular Aventus, it was actually to think of this one, the limited edition. Because this, to me, is a lot richer than current day Aventus. I know that can be a divisive statement. I think there's some people that feel really strongly about the Armaf Club de Nuit being a bad fragrance. I'm not one of them. I really like it quite a bit. So, you know, I'm okay with having another one. I don't like having a lot of redundant fragrances, but I figured because I felt like the limited edition of the Armaf Club de Nuit limited edition is a lot better than regular Aventus. So when I actually went into Nordstrom and I smelled Absolu Aventus, my mind actually went to the Armaf, not to regular Aventus, even though I've got a sample of that, and I've done a side-by-side of those two, not on the channel, but just like on my own, and you know, they're good, but I think Armaf really did something special. So if they're gonna make a clone of Absolu Aventus, I wanna check it out. And I figured it'd be useful if I compared it to the limited edition, because I feel like the limited edition is doing so, I barely say that. Limited edition is doing something more, I think, than current day Aventus. So if the limited edition is already doing something more, what is this going to be? That's what I'm really curious about. So let's find out. I will say right off the bat, presentation's not bad, nice box. Okay, I'm busting this out here. Let me toss this aside. So there's kind of this like rubberized, that's interesting. It's like a rubber little case around the actual box itself. Okay, so I have the bottle here. It is clearly hearkening similar to the regular Club de Nuit line, has the little gem thing, but it's different and it's not affixed to the bottle itself, so jingles around, as you can hear there. I'm just gonna spray this straight on skin, and then I'll talk about it for a minute, and then I'll spray limited edition on the other wrist. Give that a second. Yeah, that is okay. So it is it's not immediately redundant. This is different. Yeah, okay. Wow, okay. Now, this is actually making me want to get Absolu Aventus to compare it to, because I am noticing that right off the bat, this is quite a bit different from the limited edition. This feels richer, which I already thought that was a pretty rich fragrance, but this has more depth to it. I feel like this is stronger. That's interesting. I want to do a comparison. Okay, so that's really interesting. So I would say the Precieux, I think it's how you probably say it, Precieux, something like that. It's sweeter. This is a weird thing to say, but I feel like red represents this more. Like I feel like I get more green and greenery from the limited edition. This is potent. I can tell already, like this is really, really strong. I know I did 3 sprays, but even 2 sprays on here is not nearly as strong as this. So this is quite a bit stronger than the limited edition. Similar, like you could tell that they're based on the same DNA, but they do feel like distinct fragrances, which that's why I want to smell Absolu Aventus again, because when I smelled Absolu Aventus, to me it didn't stand out as dramatically different from regular Aventus. This does, but not negatively. This smells high quality. This smells really nice. It's like got like almost berries to it more than like the sort of pineapple-y thing they talk about in the regular Aventus. That is really fascinating. So, to to be honest with you, right off the bat, I don't know if I like it as much. I mean, it's an interesting fragrance. It smells masculine. It's very similar, but there's something about it. I think it's this increased sweetness. Like, there's a dense sweetness about it. It's not bad. That's interesting. I'm gonna keep wearing this one, I think. We're gonna treat this like a first impressions, and I'm gonna come back and do another recording once I've had more time with it. You know, it's funny, like when I like spray this and then like I almost can't smell the original Club de Nuit limited edition. Like I feel like I go nose blind to it from this, from the Precieux. Doesn't work the other way though. Interesting. It's like, it feels like it's like borderline almost not Aventus. Which is an interesting thing to say, because Absolu Aventus still very much to me felt like it was in the Aventus like vein. But this feels like more like an actual flanker that's like, you know, the DNA is still there, but it is doing something different. And I think that was actually kind of where Absolu Aventus was falling short for me. Was that it was kind of like, okay, you're doing what smells like higher quality Aventus. Interesting. So in the limited edition, I get kind of, there's almost a petroleum sort of, some sort of an industrial petroleum sort of product, like gasoline or something like that in there. I really like it. It kind of, I think, goes really well with that oak moss green sort of thing that it's got going on. That's toned down in Precieux. Interesting. This is going to take some time, I think, to unravel. I don't think I can just go off of a first impressions, because there's a lot here. So I'm going to spend some time with it. I want to smell it, you know, in the air a little bit more instead of just up close, because there's a lot more to it than that. So I will call it here and then come back with more impressions once I've had a little bit more time with it. Okay, so coming to you here with part 2. I have spent well, actually at this point I've spent almost a week with Precieux number 1, and I have thoughts. This isn't the end though, because this is kind of evolving. So that is so interesting. So each time I'm wearing this, it's kind of evolving a little bit more and more, and I really like the smell of it a lot. But right now, it's striking me not the same as Absolu Aventus. It's striking me as kind of more of a twist. But now I don't trust myself. And I feel like this is smelling slightly different from the first time I wore it. Like, that's the thing, is every time I wore it, I was like, okay, I'm getting more of the Aventus DNA, and I'm smelling more of that. And especially when it dries down, you get a substantial amount more than that. But the opening, to me, I was surprised. Seemed different than I expected. Didn't smell like Aventus, because when I went to Nordstrom and I smelled Absolu, I smelled it straight from the bottle. I remember thinking, oh, okay, that smells like a better version of Aventus for sure. But I think the Club de Nuit is still probably about on par with this. So I went home and I felt like it confirmed it. And I'm surprised if Armaf didn't nail it. So this is, when I say that it feels like it has a twist, there's a couple things. One, I feel like there's kind of a blue layer on top of the traditional Creed fragrance. So on top of that kind of green oak moss sort of a thing, there's like almost, it doesn't smell like Bleu de Chanel or Sauvage or any of those, but it's got the vibe. You know, it feels like Aventus made for some sort of an event or an occasion. Again, really good, really good. I really like this fragrance a lot. The thing I'm trying to figure out is how good of a clone of Absolu Aventus it is. So I'm actually ordering in a sample of Absolu Aventus, because I'm not as close to a Nordstrom to be able to just go in and pop in. So I'm gonna do that, and I'm gonna do a comparison between this, the limited edition regular Aventus, and it's actually the triple, I think I'm getting the triple aged batch of Absolu Aventus. I'm gonna compare them though, because my understanding is it's not much different from regular Absolu Aventus. So I'm gonna try those side by side, see how they stack up. and that will be the next one of these videos. But the thing I'll say right now about this fragrance is I like it a lot. I still need to compare it, but on its own, as a scent on its own, I really like it a lot. It feels a little bit classier. It feels like it's got kind of a little soapy undernote. I'm not sure if that was really in the original Aventus, but I feel it stronger in this. So it's not bad, it's clean. Certainly worth checking out if you're just looking for something in that vein. If you've got a bunch of clones of Aventus already, this is probably a good direction to go because it seems different to me, but we'll find out in the next little sliver here. All right, so I have decided to cut straight to the point, and I have picked up a sample of Absolu Aventus. I have a previous sample of Aventus itself from the Discovery set that I got from Creed directly. And then I also have Club de Nuit limited edition and the new Precieux. And we're gonna do a comparison of all of them. The one thing that I wanna say before I start is that the sample of Absolu Aventus I got it from a website called Scent Rush. First time ordering from them, came quickly, which was great. This is the triple aged batch of Absolu Aventus. And before I say anything, the thing I wanna say here is that is total crap. Like, the concept of aging fragrances, number one, they tell you not to, right? Because like they only last a couple of years, right? So that's number one. Number two, if this is triple aged, then everything in my collection is quintuple aged. Quintuple aged cool water, grapefruit and sage. It just is, it's such a nonsense marketing concept to me. I refuse to believe that it's different from aging. Maybe it's different because they changed the ingredients between regular Absolu Aventus and this one, but to me, seems like a money grab. I know that precludes me ever doing any business directly with Creed. That was never gonna happen anyway, so I'm not too worried about it, but I do wanna say that off the bat. The other thing too is this is 4 scents. They're gonna be sprayed slightly different times. If that ends up screwing up the comparison, I think that probably just goes to show the quality of the clones. So I'm not going to be concerned about the fact that I'm spraying these a minute or two apart each. Okay, to start off, let's do a comparison of the limited edition, Club de Nuit limited edition, and regular Aventus, and I'll tell you my thoughts on those two. All right, so here we go with regular Aventus. A good number of sprays. Got that in my left hand, pulling up limited edition. I can smell it in there though, it smells great. I love Aventus. Like this DNA is a winner for me. Okay. Didn't want to risk contaminating them. So I have Club de Nuit limited edition in my right hand. I have a regular Aventus in my left. Man, I do love the Aventus DNA. I think is still one of the best. Okay, so right off the bat, there's a little bit of a difference. I've talked about this before. I actually think Club de Nuit smells a little bit better than regular Aventus. I mean, this smells amazing, but the Club de Nuit is a little bit richer. It's a little bit stronger. This lasts longer in my experience. It has, like in terms of actual scent differences, because I think they're really, really close. I would say there's almost like a lime sherbet in the Club de Nuit that's present in regular Aventus, but it's like amped up a little bit. Okay, let's go to the next thing. So here I've got the other two. Let's just compare these two. Now, this is the first time I've done them side by side. I've got Precieux, whatever here, and I've got the real deal, the Absolu Aventus here, triple aged. Okay, see, this is kind of what I was remembering when I smelled this in Nordstrom. I remember going, yeah, that reminds me of Aventus. Like, I'm not reminding me, that's Aventus. It's a creamier version of Aventus. Like this is Aventus, actually this is kind of veering more towards Cedrat Boisé, funny enough. Because so Drop Boise has that really creamy lemon, and I'm getting a little bit of that here. Okay, so compared to Precieux, see, okay, they are different. I'm not crazy. I mean, the thing is, while they are very different, I do think they are very different. Because when I smell Precieux, I go, there's Aventus DNA in there, but there's something else on top of it. I wouldn't call this a clone, I would call it a twist. And maybe this whole video is crazy because it has been a twist and I've just been off the mark, but I thought this was supposed to be a clone of Absolu Aventus. Okay, so I'm going to set, okay, so I'll talk a little bit more about this. So, side by side, here's the difference to me. Precieux, whatever. I kind of return to, I feel like it has that layer of that blue fragrance on top, Bleu de Chanel or something. Like it's not like it smells like that. It's got the vibe though of like the kind of occasion sort of fragrance. You know what I mean? Of like that Bleu de Chanel is. The original Absolu Aventus to me is just the Aventus DNA, but it's made denser and creamier. And this has something else like different on top of it completely. Like this is like, it reminds me of Aventus, but there's something else in here going on completely. I think it's great though. Like I've worn this a handful of times and I really enjoy it. It evokes Aventus without being a direct clone, I think is the best way to say it. I wouldn't call it a clone, I would say it's an inspired by, because it's not doing this. It is not at all close to doing what Absolu Aventus is. But let's stack it up to the other ones. Okay, so I've got Precieux here, regular Aventus here, and then this is the Club de Nuit limited edition. Yeah, again, like there's almost, I think I figured it out. So Club de Nuit Precieux is Aventus. It's the Aventus DNA with Night Vision EDT, Spice Bomb Night Vision EDT on top. That's what it is. I've nailed it. Yep, that's it. Okay, I've figured it out. Okay, I feel like a master of fragrance now. Yes, that is it exactly. That and actually that like works out really well as a combination. Aventus and Spice Bomb Night Vision EDT, EDP, whichever one. Those DNAs, they blend really well together because that's what I'm getting here, man. It just like suddenly clicked. I'm like, whoa, wait, Night Vision, yeah. Yeah, it's Night Vision on top of Aventus. Okay, let's check out Absolu versus the other ones. Now that we're kind of getting the Precieux is off doing its own thing, I'll return to that. But let's compare Absolu Aventus Triple Aged with Club de Nuit limited edition and regular Aventus. So do Aventus first. I mean, it is different for sure. Yeah, I mean, there's just like a denseness and a creaminess that is in the triple aged Absolu. I mean, it smells really, really, really great. And again, then it is different from the limited edition. I think when I smelled this in the store, I thought, oh, that's just more akin to the limited edition, which is, I think limited edition is better than the regular Aventus. I think this is better than the limited edition, though they are doing a slightly different thing. As weird as that sounds, I don't feel like limited edition is trying to do a super creamy thing. So here's the thing, I really like all of these. I think they're all great in their iterations. I do think I like Absolu Aventus the most. I'm gonna wear this one on skin, so I'll return and say in a future video if I have any updates. Or maybe I'll just record one more segment for this, we'll see. I will say, as they dry down, they do kind of start to move apart more and more. I think that the place where that's surprising me the most is actually between regular Aventus and Club de Nuit limited edition. Okay, so interesting. I'm actually now starting to feel like there are more similarities between these two than between regular Aventus and triple Absolu, blah blah blah, than with the Armaf and either of them. Like, the Club de Nuit is doing the Aventus DNA, but it's staying greener and a little bit more sour. The regular Aventus Aventi, they are a little bit sweeter. A little creamier, a little bit sweeter, a little less green. I think all of these are great fragrances, by the way. I don't think, like, there are situations where you have clones of Aventus especially, that the clones smell like cheap garbage. And I don't think that's the case here. I think all of these, including the new one, smell fantastic. I do think the new one, if you are expecting it to be a clone of Absolu Aventus, it is not. It's very good, but it is distinct. It is distinct and different, and it actually smells to me a little bit more like a original creation. I mean, they're just so far apart. Like, again, you can see, you can smell the inspiration to Aventus in the Precieux, but it is quite distinct. That being said, I actually do think that it's worth picking up. I actually really like it a lot, especially for, you know, $40 or $50. Like, this to me is a great fall time fragrance. Like I said, with kind of that Spice Bomb Night Vision DNA on top of it, I think it's really, really interesting. So I've worn it. Every time I've worn it, I've thought, it's not really reminding me as much of Aventus as I would have expected a clone of Absolu Aventus to do. At the same time, I really enjoy it. It is a different experience, though. I'll say it's a different wearing experience. It's different situationally. I think Absolu Aventus, Aventus Cologne, they all strike me as everyday signature scents that you can wear any time of the year. They just smell good, green, clean. It's a great scent, great DNA. This feels more of an event fragrance. This has more richness and spices to it, because it's just taking a similar DNA to this and then it's throwing a bunch of stuff on top of it. I think it does it well, but it is quite distinct. So, okay, well, I'm glad that I did this. I thought when I smelled it that it was like, wait a minute, Armaf usually does a pretty good job with these, so this seems off. I am actually quite curious what other people have said about this, and if they say that it's close, because if they are, you should question what they're saying. If people are saying that these two are even similar, like, they're very different. Like, they're different scents completely. Like I said, you still have, like, I actually think it's probably more fair to say that you have the Club de Nuit limited edition DNA in the new Precieux more than you have the Aventus Absolu, or Absolu Aventus, whatever. It smells great. They all of these smell great. It's just not a clone of Absolu Aventus. All right, well, hey, got to the bottom of that, and I feel good about that. I feel like I've done good work here, letting you guys know that it's not a good clone of Club de Nuit or good clone of Absolu Aventus, but it is a good fragrance. I would absolutely buy that one again, happily, and I would happily recommend it to people. I think it is great. If you like Spice Bomb Night Vision EDT and you like Aventus, get this. Like, if you like those two, then you will smell this and you may not immediately think of either of those fragrances, but you go, oh, I like this. Whatever this is, I like this. So check it out. Tell me in the comments if you've smelled it. I'm curious if I'm on my own island here. don't think I am, but maybe I am. I'm gonna go see what other reviewers have said and see if there's a bunch of people talking out their butts, because I feel like if you think that these two are similar, it's not just a matter of opinion, you just aren't smelling something, because that just seems crazy to me if you would think they smell even that much alike. So I guess we'll see, but thank you so much for going on this journey with me, and I've got another one coming up, so stay tuned. Bye.